5 seconds to go. Start. This principle has been subsequently followed in Parvesh Kumar Sachdeva versus State of Uttar Pradesh and others to hold that waiver is abandonment of a right which normally everybody is at liberty to waive. Waiver is nothing unless it amounts to release, albeit it can be adduced from acquiescence or may be implied. The essence of waiver is an estoppel, and they are questions of conduct and therefore necessarily determined on the facts of each case. As a rule and judicial policy, the courts of law do not allow a litigant to take inconsistent position to gain advantage through the aid of judicial proceedings. In consideration of the facts of the present case, another important aspect to be duly noted is the power of the court's judicial authorities to mold relief, while holding that the general approach is that the claimant who succeeds in establishing the unlawfulness of administrative action is entitled to grant of remedial order. The general proposition does not undermine the discretion which the courts or judicial authorities have in assessing what is fair and just to do in the particular case to withhold the remedy altogether or to mold the remedy by grant of a declaration rather than a more coercive quashing, prohibiting or mandatory order or injunction which may have been sought. Relief may be granted in respect of one aspect and not others. The general approach therefore is that a complainant who succeeds in establishing unlawfulness of an action is entitled to a remedial order, but the court has discretion in the sense of determining what is fair and just to do in a particular case. This discretionary aspect of grant of relief, even with reference to post litigation events, has been highlighted in Beg Raj Singh versus State of UP and others, wherein it was held as under, having heard the learned counsel for the petitioner as also the learned counsel for the state and the private respondent, we are satisfied that the petition deserves to be allowed. The ordinary rule of litigation is that the rights of the parties stand crystallized on the date of commencement of litigation, and the right to relief should be decided by reference to the date on which the petitioner entered the portals of the court. A petitioner, though entitled to relief in law, may yet be denied relief in equity because of subsequent or intervening events, that is, the events between the commencement of litigation and the date of decision. The relief to which the petitioner is held entitled may have been rendered redundant by lapse of time or may have been rendered incapable of being granted by change in law. There may be other circumstances which render it inequitable to grant the petitioner any relief over the respondents because of the balance tilting against the petitioner on weighing inequities pitted against equities on the date of judgment. Third party interest may have been created, or allowing relief to the claimant may result in unjust enrichment on account of events happening in between. Else, the relief may not be denied solely on account of time lost in prosecuting proceedings in judicial or quasi-judicial forum and for no fault of the petitioner. A plaintiff or petitioner having been found entitled to a right to relief, the court would, as an ordinary rule, try to place the successful party in the same position in which he would have been if the wrong complained against would not have been done to him. Reference in this regard can also be made to an earlier decision of this court in Rameshwar and others versus Jot Ram and another. In the present case, it is clear from a bare perusal of the letter dated 7th November 2016 sent by the bank to its zonal manager that the bank actively considered the borrower's request for extension of the moratorium period. The borrower did not submit the viability report and failed to bring in rupees 45 lakhs only. Post this default also, there were negotiations with assurances and promises by the borrower. Displaying forbearance, the bank granted indulgence as action under the SARFAESI Act was deferred for nearly 1 year from 7th November 2016 till 6th October 2017. Thereafter, negotiations were held on 30th October 2017, 6th November 2017 and 8th November 2017. The email dated 30th November 2017 addressed by the bank to the borrower highlights the dilatory and tricky approach of the borrower as it had failed to submit details of the additional collateral security offered along with the legal opinion and the engineer's valuation report. Stop.